Welcome to 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act by Bob Joseph, Virtual Pilgrimage. Well, it's been a long journey. We started this way back at the end of September, if you can believe it, and we are now at the beginning of March. My design related to these virtual pilgrimages is to have people read very small sections of a book, a chapter, and in Bob's case, very short, like sometimes just a couple of pages, to sort of be nourished by it, or to ruminate in it, or to give it some consideration for longer than just, I read it and it's gone. And then to just have a brief reflection on it, just as a way of stirring within you maybe some conversation. My name is the Reverend John Borthwick, and the community I serve here at St. Andrew's in Guelph are being invited into this kind of conversation. And my guess is that there are some people who are just watching these reflections and haven't yet picked up the book. I hope that they'll pick up the book at some point, but if not, I'm hopeful that even these small reflections will get them thinking a little more deeply and being a little more curious about how Indigenous peoples have been impacted by government legislation within this country called Canada under something called the Indian Act that has regulated their entire existence from way back when to the 1800s to even today, and that impact that it's had in an intergenerational way. And so today, it is number 18. We are almost at the end of the 21 things. Number 18, and it's a bit more of a play on this theme of a prohibition, a way of regulating Indigenous people's daily living, or at least how they might want to engage in their lives in certain ways. This one is called number 18, Prohibited Pool Hall Owners from Allowing Indians Entrance. From 1927 all the way to whenever. Bob doesn't have a clear sense of when this one wrapped up. Now, it's possible it may have been interconnected with the times of Prohibition, maybe. But it's this idea that the government is even directing how an Indigenous person might spend their times of leisure. They're not allowed to go into a pool room, so they can't do what other people who are called Canadians can do. Part of it comes from this very strong belief or push to say that Indigenous people shouldn't be essentially having any kind of leisure time. They should be continually working or being a part of doing something. Part of it could be related to the whole bits and pieces we've already talked about around controlling their access to alcohol and being in places where other people might be, whether that's dances or places like bars. There's sort of a sense that Indigenous people can't mix in that regard. So it could be a bit about mixing, for sure. It's got some evidence to that. But more than that, there's this sense of basically saying that Indigenous people shouldn't be having any sort of downtime or leisure time or time to relax and have entertainment and enjoy themselves. It was really about they need to spend more time either being in school, or they might need to be more time being productive. Stunning that this is a part of a legislation, that you would legislate what people can do in their downtime. And yet we are a democracy that is a country that would claim itself to be free, and that all people can pursue whatever they wish to live well. It is stunning the almost microscopic way in which this particular form of legislation by our government controlled the activities, either a day-to-day, a weekday, how you might spend the weekend with friends, is being controlled by the government if you are Indigenous. Something to think about as we engage with this conversation around the Indian Act and how it has impacted Indigenous peoples. We'll see you next time. Thank you.